What's up, baby?
What's up, man?
What's going on?
That's good to be here.
You living full
it's
fuel?
Good to be back. I'm always living full fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
on.
So joining us today are two phenomenal guests. I'm super excited, Micah and Diana Laerte. They're not just a powerhouse couple in life, but also at the forefront of online fitness and in the health industry. Micah, renowned for his expertise in personal training and wellness, has transformed lives across the globe through his innovative fitness programs. And Diana, with her incredible journey and dedication, has been an integral part of this transformative movement, inspiring countless individuals to achieve their health and fitness goals. They have not only built an empire fitness world, but also created impactful retreats and events that go beyond just workouts and diet plans. They focus on holistic health, community building, and sustainable lifestyle changes. And let's not forget, they're gearing up for their exciting and upcoming event in Tampa, the Lean In Level Up Conference, which promises to be a game changer in the world of fitness and faith. So whether you're a fitness enthusiast, someone just looking to spark that level of motivation, or just curious about the journey behind the success, this episode is for you. Micah and Diana, welcome to the Full Field Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
I
us.
like that intro. That was nice.
That was something.
That was nice.
It's great to have you guys here, man.
Man,
We
blessed
are
to be here.
We are so excited, extremely blessed, as are we. So, Micah, I guess we'll start with you. We got a lot of questions, and then we're gonna dig in a little bit further. So we're gonna start off here by asking you. You've become a renowned figure in the online health and fitness space. Can you share a moment of when you realized fitness was more than just a hobby?
Oof. Man, I would have to go all the way back when it first started. The first 18 years of my life were really brutal. I went through a lot of really horrific things. Fitness became something that ended up saving my life at one of the lowest parts of my life. I always contributed to like dumbbells and chicken breast as a joke, but I was really in a very dark place. I was struggling. And when you go through pain and you go through trauma, sometimes you get to those places in life where you don't know which direction to go. So when I had got to college, I start working out, and I initially wanted to do it because I wanted to look like the guys on covers of magazines. I wanted to do that. But within weeks, I started to see how it changed my mind and how the anxiety was going down, depression, and just I got this urge of like, okay, I feel amazing. I want everyone else to feel this way too. And so it was this hobby, but it was also this lifeline. It was something that became a part of my identity, a part of my DNA, and I wanted everyone else to have it too.
That is huge. That is huge. Now, we're gonna come back to that, but I want your story of how you guys met, and then how HitchFit came about.
Oh, well, how we met. MySpace in Las Vegas.
Nice.
True love.
True love.
That's where true love happens.
It worked.
We actually met through MySpace. For those of you who are old enough to remember the MySpace days,
Sure do. Oh,
yeah. we were both doing stuff in the fitness industry, and we connected there. And I always tell people it wasn't like he wrote to me one day, and it wasn't like, hey baby. It was more just we were kind of doing things that were similar. I was living in San Antonio, Texas at the time, and he was in Kansas City. And we just kind of started a conversation. And then it was the 2008 Olympia in Las Vegas. And
Okay.
I was going to go just because that's what you did back in the day before Instagram. You actually had to go and like meet people in person and meet magazines and talk to photographers in person. And I was like, hey, are you going? Like, let's meet at the expo. And he was like, yeah, I'm going. So we were texting and we met at the expo, and we were just going to take a picture together. And we met, we took the picture together, and we were like, I like you. Like, I think we're going to hang out. And we actually, it was kind of, it was kind of an instant connection, and it felt like I had known him for a long time. We were kind of instantly friends. We ended up hanging out that entire weekend together. By the end of the weekend, we were like, yeah, like this is pretty much it for me. And I moved to Kansas City 2 months later, and he was in the process of starting HitchFit. And so remember in MySpace, you didn't have your real name. You had like a different name.
It's like an alias. Yeah.
His name on MySpace was Hitch. So when he was writing to me at
Okay.
first, I was like, "Who's this Hitch
Is
guy?"
this Will Smith.
It was actually based on the Will Smith movie because he had introduced some people that had ended up getting married. So that's where he got the
that's
nickname
great.
Hitch. And when he had first written to me back then, I had never gone through to actually see his profile. And one day he changed his name to Micah, and then he wrote to me again like a couple months later, and I was like, "Who is this? Who's Micah? I don't even know who this is." And so I actually clicked through to his profile, and he was. This is kind of a funny story. He was in a muscle and fitness spread, a sprinting article, and I had literally taken that article and I had gone and done the article, like done the workout at a track that was next door to my house. And so when I clicked through, I was like, wait, he's the guy that was in the sprinting article that I literally just did. So that was kind of where Hitch came from there. I moved to Kansas City. HitchFit was born, like, we launched it. I moved there in November. We launched it in February of 2009 with the online side, and that started to grow because nobody knew what online personal training was.
Yeah.
And in July of 2009, we opened the first HitchFit gym, and that's 15 years later, and we're still doing the same thing, just transforming people's lives.
It's amazing.
That's such a cool story. And I don't know why I was just thinking this, but like, who's the guy that you had to be friends with on MySpace? The guy who started it.
Tom.
Tom.
I mean,
everyone had Tom.
Yeah, I mean,
Tom.
and remember
Guy.
you had the top 8 friends, and if
Yeah.
those friends changed in any ways, people are like, what happened?
Yeah.
You got to have your own music
like,
and design.
pissed a lot of people
Kids
off.
these
Yeah.
days have no idea how awesome it was.
It was great. You had the song, started playing. I mean, it was
That's right.
awesome.
You designed your whole profile. That's so funny, man.
Oh,
That was
bring
so-
it back.
amazing. So yeah, I mean, your gym's pretty cool looking too. You guys have like a wall of all the people who have hit their goals, right? Like a success wall.
Yeah.
And it's a big wall packed with small pictures. So that's tons of people you guys have helped. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, how many pounds is it? Like,
We're over 600,000 pounds in 82 countries now.
600,000.
Wow.
So when we started HitchFit, we lived in an attic. Like, dude, we had nothing.
Yeah.
But what we had is this deep desire to help individuals get to an amazing place. It all started for me way back when. She has her own story too. So when we came together, we were like, you love helping people? Yeah, I do too. Let's start this thing and really go and help people.
Yeah.
Initially, we were just like, what is the goal on this? To help as many people as humanly possible that God puts in front of us.
Yeah.
And that is literally the same exact plan that we followed since way back in 2009 when we started.
That's why I love having you guys here, because that's where I'm at too, man.
Yeah.
That's like where I'm on this earth right now. God gave me some abilities that, through chiropractic, functional medicine, all that, to help others as well, right? And then obviously teaming up with Matt here to do this podcast. But
Now, this is a question that I think is inspiring for a lot of people, probably in the health and fitness space, entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter. But what's one myth about fitness, about the fitness and health, and then specifically HitchFit? How you guys really have, it's ground level all the way 15 years now, that was just like maybe a massive obstacle that you're like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to overcome this, that now you can laugh about?
Oh, man. I mean, as far as HitchFit goes, one of the biggest obstacles, we had 2 obstacles. The first obstacle was like we had created something. We were pioneers in that space, one of the first. And so how do you teach the world what it is you do without going to Google and have a description of it? So everybody's mind at that point was you have to do one-on-one in person for personal training to work.
Yeah.
And so we're like, no, dude, it works. And so it took us having people from Canada and all over the world to start like sharing their stories. And then people like, what is this? I can do this and I never have to leave my home.
Yeah.
Or I can go to my own gym and do this. So that was a really beautiful thing. The other thing in the brick and mortars that was the difficult part for us was everywhere you go as far as one-on-one training, whether it be membership gyms or small private studios, everything is built off of retention. Yeah. So my goal is to work with you guys as long as humanly possible. With no end goal in sight. We did it the exact opposite, and we're one of the very first, I think the first gym that actually did it the way we did it, where it was like, hey, you're going to be with us 90 to 120 days, depending on what their goals were, and then you're going to be out the door. We're going to teach you everything you need to do and transform you rather than retain you.
If you want to hear your question answered live on the show, submit it to ask@fullfuel.com. check out the Optimizers program where we build max muscle, improve longevity, and get guys freaking shredded so that they can crush it at life for as long as possible.
Live full fueled, live beyond limits, baby.
I love that. Man, I do the same thing in my office.
Yep.
Like, you hear the thing about chiropractors, oh, I have to stay coming for the rest of my life. And there is some validity to that if you're just doing, like, basic chiropractic adjustments, right? That's going to only give you so much mobility. But what I do with the corrective care is the same thing. I tell everyone, I'm like, the more you're seeing me, the worse you're doing. So if you could get to a point where you don't have to come back and your spine is in a good place, then I've done my job. Yeah. And, like, if you want to come back, great. I love that. But I'm not trying to lock someone in. I love that. And
it's
very
like an
admirable.
act of empowerment. Like you're really empowering people at that point.
And honest,
Well, your heart, I think, is in the right place. Like you genuinely just want to help this soul. And we have clients that stay with us longer.
Yeah.
I also want to say that, but we don't market that. We don't push that. These are just people that are like, hey, man, can I keep going, or are you going to, like, fire me? And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, man, you got to go do it on your own for 3 months, and then I'll take you back. But I got to see that you can also do this. So it just depends on the individual.
So were you a trainer before you guys started the HitchFit, or was... So I was say, what was the moment where you guys looked at each other and were like, we're going to do this, right? Like, what was that like?
That was fairly early on. I had been a trainer for, 2002 was when I first started one-on-one training, and so that was 6 years in. But we pretty much knew, like, he had the concept, and then when we met, it was like, okay, we're doing, like, this is happening. And it was like and also I brought the female component in, and I had started a business in Texas that, like, bombed, but I learned a lot of lessons through that I was able to bring in to HitchFit and use it. And it really was just, the whole mission was to, if we're going to teach people a lifestyle, you're probably not going to work with me for the rest of your life. So it was like, I don't want you to feel like you are relying on us to live a healthy lifestyle. So that was kind of the whole concept of, like, and it's fine. Some people, they know themselves well enough. They know that they need someone for that accountability. That's just knowing yourself. But I also want to teach them as much as we possibly can, so they feel equipped to, like, if my trainer's not there, then I just don't work out, or I just don't make healthy choices if I'm not going to the gym. So a lot of mindset work and stuff too.
That's huge.
That's that empowerment piece you were talking about, right? Like equipping them with the tools. Like, they need a start and they need to learn, but then eventually, it's their health, not yours, right? You can't want it more than them, ultimately.
I think it's really also important to share that we both had worked in other gyms before, which we mentioned, but it took us working in those gyms to then understand what we didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because, like, for me, I remember working at corporate gyms, and not one time in all those years that I worked in corporate did we have a meeting based off of the success of our clients. It was based off of how many sales did we have, how many sales were we going to get, who were we going to target, all of this. And I kept thinking, and I was like, man, dude, like, this is a business. I understand that, but at the same time, if we put the client and the person's success and their actually well-being and health first, this business is going to be way bigger. Yeah. And so we were like, hey, it's not on the market. We're going to build it. Yeah. We're going to build that model.
That just jogged a thought about, like, we went to this gym the other day. The gym I'm going to is closing down, and we were like, let's go try this out. And it's one of these big box gyms, man. I walked in and I was like, they're all about the sale. So they sign up as many people as they can on these $10, $1 entries, right? But then there's zero personal attention unless you sign up with a trainer, and you're just another number. Eventually, what I've seen from the big box gyms is the facilities start to, like, degrade over time. Like, man, this place was super clean a year ago. Now nobody's wiping up, right? And it's just, you're like, and then you move on. You go to the next one, right? And, like, that's not a great business model either. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love the personal attention you guys have in your business. That's cool.
Yeah, you put the person first. And we always have kind of put money very far down the line, just been obedient to the Lord and just putting people first. And that's why when you walk into our gyms, you're just like, whoa. Yeah. That's how we define success, is being able to work with each one of those individuals and go through that journey and that transformation with them.
You can feel that from you guys. I feel it. I feel the energy.
Energy is so positive.
Like, it is, I think John Maxwell, he just really says it well, when the head and the heart align, right? And it's always in for an act of service more than anything else. And how am I serving you first? And then, the rest will come. But that empowerment piece, I love that. What would you consider was, because there's always that, for me in an entrepreneurship, there's that grind phase, and you're like, there's like almost the white knuckling piece. You're like, hey, you're embarking on this is like a new journey. Yeah. But then eventually there comes like obviously the tipping point. I love the Malcolm Gladwell, the tipping point. There's always that, hey, we're going to keep serving, but is it going to work out? Was there a point in time in that 15 years where you're like, we're hitting a tipping point here?
I would say probably that was early on, like maybe a 10, 11-ish, because so there was a moment when, okay, I've really like taken this back. So when Pinterest came out, and like I had no idea what Pinterest was, and transformation stories were what we were built on, and we always just figured if we could transform one person, and that person was willing to share their stories, because all the pictures you see from HitchFit is people that have agreed to share their stories. So it's actually a really small percentage of the people we've actually worked with, because some people don't want to share their stories. Yeah. So we had this girl, Brandy, who's actually still part of the HitchFit family. Literally just saw her the other day. We put her pictures out, and all of a sudden we were just getting leads and leads and leads and leads, and we were from online. And all these people were signing up for online, and we were like, what is happening? Like, where are you people coming from? Her picture got pinned like 40,000 times within like a one or 2 days, or a couple of days.
Went viral.
Wow.
It went viral.
People were on our questionnaires. It was like, where'd you hear about us? And people were like, Pinterest. And I'm like, Pinterest? What is Pinterest? What is this? Have you ever heard of Pinterest? And so I'm like looking up, trying to figure out what this Pinterest is. And I think it was around then that we realized we were really onto something that we could really just build and grow. And then also when we got to move out of the attic, that was a good moment for us.
But I think it's really important to remember the attic stages of our lives, right? Because those were the times where you're like, you had to appreciate the small to appreciate the much.
That's right.
God is very clear about that, and we still think about that and go, man, I kind of miss that attic sometimes.
Yeah.
More responsibility. It's a lot,
Yeah.
So
that whole
that's so important. I was thinking about this actually yesterday morning too. One of my things that I do with my girls, I get to drive them to school every morning. And I was like, I need to have a triggering session of reflection. Like I need to pull back and really reflect more and more and more. And so I was like, I can do that in a meditative state, but how awesome is it to do it with my daughters in the car? And so we've really honed in on, we literally are just like singing in the car together, but the Many Little Miracles by Maverick City. And they're out in the Midwest, aren't they? Maverick City, maybe? Am I wrong?
I'm not sure where they're at.
I don't know where they are.
Anyways, we just put that song on and we just sing and we're like 1, 2, 3, 4. It is just one of these things where like you can reflect and it just automatically takes me back. It's like even if you took those are some good old days, and just being uber present with the time in the attic, right? Just really getting back to that stage. I think that's really important. That's cool.
Yeah, you got to know where you're from, right?
You got to know
where you're going, man.
Keeps you humble through the process.
Yeah.
That's cool. Any moments you can reflect on over the past 15 years that just like is your highlight reel?
You mean of business or of?
It can be just overall business. Yeah, we keep it in the theme of business or to collectively together. There's a highlight. I know you guys had some retreats, and we're going to step into that here shortly. But what are some highlights maybe?
That is a great question.
I think I'll go with this one first. You may want to tell like a client story, but so the home that we live in now, we'll go back. We'll talk about the attic again. When we lived in the attic, anytime we had to drive to the airport, which wasn't very frequent because we didn't have any money, there was this home on the hillside, and this beautiful home that every time we drove by it, we would be like, someday we're gonna live there. And we would be like, it's so nice those people are living there and taking care of our house right now. I mean, those words like came out of our mouth, and then probably let's see, in 2014, so about 6 years after we had started the business, that home came for sale, and we were kind of in a better position financially. And he used to like to track it on like Zillow and see it. And one day he's like, "You're not gonna believe this. Our house is for sale." And so we were like, "Well, I mean, is that too much? Like, is that something we could do? And so we're kind of like, well, let's like just go look at it and just kind of see what happens. And we went and looked at it, and we were like, I mean, obviously, I mean, it was amazing. It was beautiful. So we were like, well, can this actually happen? Because there was going to be a lot of pieces that had to fall in. We'd moved into a townhome, so we weren't in the attic anymore. By the time we were looking at the house, we were in a little townhome, and the pieces of the puzzle for us to move into that house were that we would have to make we would have to make a contingent offer because we'd have to sell our townhome. And like all of these things were going to have to fall exactly into place for this to happen. And I was going on a trip to Haiti right in the time that like was closing and things were going to take place. So we were like, we surrender this. I don't need a big house. Like if the Lord wants us there, if there's work we're supposed to do in that home, totally surrendered. It was never like, ooh, I got to have a big house. But the story of how this all came to be, that we got to live where we live now, is so beautiful. So they accepted that offer. Our townhome sold with the very first people that walked into it, with a more than full price offer. And I go to Haiti, and the day of closing was going to be the day after I got back from Haiti. And I had to be there, obviously, for signing everything. So before we're going to Haiti, and he was staying home. We're like, okay, what do we do? Do we pack the house up? Like, what if something goes off during inspections and the whole deal? Like, what do we do? And I was praying on my porch of our little townhome one morning, and I'm like, what do we do, Lord? And he said, why don't you trust me? And I was like, wow, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm giving you this gift. Like, why don't you trust me? So I went in and I was like, we got to, like, let's pack everything up. Let's put everything in pods. Like, it's all going to work out. And so that's what we did. He stayed, I was in Haiti for 10 days, and he slept on like a blanket or something. I don't know what she did for those 10 days. All the stuff was out of the house.
Made it happen.
Figured it out.
We're guys, no problem.
No, yeah.
But I'm in the middle of a field in Haiti, and they had like a little satellite phone so that he could call me to tell me if everything had gone through. So like I'm literally in this field, and they're like, Diana, it's Micah. And so, you know, everything had gone through. And then the morning I was leaving for leaving Haiti to fly back, I was a very early morning flight, and the lady at the counter, like, she hadn't had much coffee, and she was kind of gruff with me, and she was like, I'm changing your flight. And I was like, you know, just like, okay. And she's like, you don't have a long enough time for your connection where you're going, so I'm changing this flight. And I was just like, okay, thank you. And I didn't say, she's like, so you're not going to get back to Kansas City till like 8 or 9 p.m. tonight. And I was just like, okay, thank you. And it was just one of those moments. I was like, even though she wasn't even in a good mood, what she did for me made it so I got back to Kansas City in time. And I'm like, even if she had just let that slide and let me go to the first place, and I hadn't made my connection, it could have been in this whole thing. So I was just like, thank you, Lord. Yeah. Thank you that she, even though she wasn't having a great morning so far, like, she did that, and she made it so that I got home in time, slept on the floor for a couple hours, got up the next day, signed all the papers, and we moved into the house that night. So it was just this total, like, wow, God, like, thank you. And then we ended up being able to have Bible studies there for many years. Our pastor lived with us for like 3 years down, because there was a space for him. So we've just been able to use it for so many things, and it was just really a beautiful blessing. Yeah, that's a highlight.
That was a
highlight. My wife calls those God wings. So
yeah.
I got you.
That was a big one. That was a big one. Yep.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. You got one offhand?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest blessings that has ever come from HitchFit is not anything that actually happened in the gym. Like she had mentioned with Haiti, she went down for multiple mission trips, and about 12 years ago or something, she's on a mission trip, and you know they're taking pictures of the children for sponsorships, and she ultimately is hearing from the Lord that we're supposed to take the entire school of children. You know, we're newer in our business, and this is like 80 or 90 kids. But all she's hearing from the Lord is, I will provide for you and make sure that these kids are always taken care of. And he's never let the oil run dry ever. You know, since that point, through COVID, through every downfall, through whatnot, those kids have always been prepared. So one of the biggest blessings for me outside of the kids was going and seeing the children for the first time.
Yeah.
And hugging them and seeing that joy, and they're jumping on me like a jungle gym, and just like so much love and so much beauty in those souls, and seeing the blessing God gave us.
Wow.
We were looked at as a blessing because we were able to give them an opportunity. Yeah. But for us, I was like, dude, this is an even bigger opportunity for us, man. Like, I was there, and I'm just like bawling, and they sang to us. I'll send you the video after this, man.
Good.
I mean, that's why we go. It's why we go, man. You know, it's why we go. It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
It has to be bigger than. And when you can make impact like that, it's so powerful. And I want everyone to feel that, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh, man! We had a story in his office yesterday. I was.
Oh, we've had a lot of tears, dude.
I'm like,
when she tells the story, it just floods.
I'm just like, when you can envision that, you're just embracing it. Like, oh my
I'll send you the video.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
Man.
It's going to be actually at the conference too.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, Alfie, let's dive into the retreats because we really want to hone in on that.
Definitely
Man,
want to highlight
that's
that
your
and
latest
hear more about it.
endeavor. So.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So you guys, like, what was the inspiration behind it? Obviously, you're personal trainers with a gym, an online business. It all sounds like it was all doing really well. What was like hey, let's dive into these soul fit retreats is the name, right?
Yes.
What was the spark there, man?
So we knew we wanted to tap into other things. We love traveling. That was one of the big things, but we also wanted to impact people's lives in kind of a different way. That's kind of where the retreats came. So we're here in Tampa right now. Tampa has great significance because we had met this really beautiful couple out of Tampa. His name was Travis and his wife, and they were doing this retreat business. And they asked us to be a part of it, kind of do this hybrid HitchFit in their retreat business at the same time as one. And so we're like, man, that would be awesome. They had everything set up in Mexico. We end up doing a retreat with them. We start seeing this morph at the retreat where we're like, we could add this element that they don't have within it yet called Jesus and make this thing like game changing. And so we did this first thing, which we called Voices in the Villa, and these people start opening up. We made a safe place. They got vulnerable. They start sharing. And then we're there as a foundation in Christ going, hey, here's a way. And it was just a really beautiful thing. So we knew after that, we were like, okay, we want to do this, and we love the couple, so we were all in. And, oh, man, dude, this is tough. So a year ago, right now.
This weekend.
Like right now, a year
this
ago,
weekend.
we were looking at conference spots to run a conference. She had a vision of doing a conference. I was going to share my story for the first time in my first 18 years. We're with Trav, his wife, me and Diana. We find the location. We end up going back. This is.
Well, we had set up the Mexico. You know, we were planning on the next retreat.
We had a retreat that was already in place. We were talking about a conference that was in place at this point once we found the center. And a couple weeks later, 3 weeks later, we get a call about 8 p.m. and our business partner Travis had died tragically. On his birthday weekend, he had an aneurysm. He was snowmobiling, and if you knew him, like, it was the way he should have went out, because he you know, the last thing that he said to her was drive fast and take chances. And she looked back and she goes, no.
Slow down.
But he was a unicorn of life. Well, we're obviously grieving. This guy was loved by so many, and we had 90 people at the retreat. You know,
well, so 5 weeks later. So
5 weeks later, yeah.
1 year ago, literally this weekend, we were here with him looking for places for the conference. But we were leading into, we had a retreat in Mexico in March of 2023 where we had 90 people that were coming with us. So he died on February 4th. So we're coming up on the year anniversary. We still had a retreat coming up 5 weeks after he passed, where we literally just kind of had to pick up the ball and run. You know, we have a grieving wife and, you know, 90 people that are, you know, like wondering what's going to happen. And we were like, no, we're going forward with this. And so we stepped into that, you know, with a lot of prayer and a lot of like, Lord, you got to give us the strength for this because we're still grieving and processing this too. But we had to jump in and literally take over and run the entire thing. Yeah. And I tell you what, it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever been a part of. People came in, and instead of going to a retreat where they left their cares and worries at home and came in and it was about, you know, partying and fun, they brought their stuff with them. And then we dug into the stuff with them. Yeah. And then we gave all the stuff to the Lord. And there was such an anointing on that entire time. And people walked away changed. Marriages were changed. Like, I mean, people were just like, what is this that like they came in expecting one thing, they walked away with something completely different. And it was so beautiful, and also just a confirmation from the Lord for us of like, you guys are supposed to continue with this. Like, and we knew that in our hearts. Like, even the conferences he's talking about, well, that we're coming up on here in a couple weeks, like, God gave me the vision for that conference a couple years ago, or when we very first did our first retreat with him. I had that vision for the conference. And after Trav passed, it was like, you know, we're grieving and we're like, Lord, what are we supposed to do? Like, we thought he was going to be there with us. And he said, I told you to do a conference. I didn't tell you he was going to be with you. And so that's why we've just been stepping into it. And just, if there's one thing we've learned, it's we're stepping into a space we know he's leading us to. Every experience so far, that Mexico, and we had an incredible adventure retreat in September in Asheville, North Carolina. Spectacular, like 20 people, so much, so incredible. But we've just learned that we can have a plan, and then he may be like, nope, you're going over here. Yeah. But as long as it's surrendered, like, we're stepping in, we're being obedient, and we're just letting him show up and show us what we're supposed to do, and trusting that he's gonna just be there as the foundation of it all. And he's never let us down so far, so we're excited to see what happens.
That's awesome.
My dad used to say a quote, like, man plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
We try working so hard to get something, and then it's like, why is this falling apart? Or why am I getting led this way? It's like, just listen, right?
Yeah.
Shut up and listen sometimes, man. Yeah. So what's the approach to the retreats? Like, tell us a little bit about kind of what people expect there, or, you know, what happens.
So we take them to really amazing places around the world. That's the number one thing. So they're going to be in a paradise type place for the Mexico retreats, or as we do them further, you know, Costa Rica, different places that are going to be spectacular. We set a very safe and secure place for them so that they can share if they choose to or whatnot. Obviously, foundation is in faith. We don't press that onto people, but it is a part of our message. It is a part of our principles, how we operate. There's a fitness element and a health element that's really fun. So this, like, last Mexico retreat, we took them down to Tulum Jungle Gym, and we rented out the place with the big giant dumbbells. And I mean, you would have thought all these 40, 50-year-olds are coming in, walking in and thinking like it's Toys R Us as a kid. They're just like, whoa! We planned to work out, and then we were like, oh man, they are not listening at all. They just want to go.
Just let them go.
And so it was a blast. So there's that fitness element. There's this uplifting, digging into to pain points and whatnot, and helping them find their purpose and really give them the tools that they can essentially take home and apply to their lives. You know, something that is not fluffy, something that is raw and real, and also build this community that's just fantastic with like-minded people that are there to lift one another up. This isn't foam parties and getting wasted. This is like diving into some tough stuff, having a lot of fun, and building some amazing relationships.
That's awesome. I think I just think of it as like when you're drunk in the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
There is, like, I mean, that's a real thing too. You literally like drunk
filled
in the
up.
Holy Spirit. You're just so filled. And it's such a, like, there's nothing you can experience more than that. It's like, it's such an amazing experience. Something that we don't. Let me ask you this question, and this is a question kind of like off the beaten path a little bit, because it's something that I think maybe I struggle with it to an extent, but you guys are both really fit individuals. And I think this is just like church context, that we don't talk about gluttony enough. And so I don't want to be shameful towards anyone. So like the point is not to create like shame, right? But like from an authoritative perspective, I just, that's a topic that I'm like, man, we got to talk more about that in the Christian faith, because it's so, I feel like we need to be so intentional about there's an essence of who we are, and then there's this borrowed shell, and how we're protecting that borrowed shell. So let's just open it up a little bit, and maybe, I don't know if this is a deep question that we want to get into.
I mean, this is the stuff we like digging into, because from where we stand and what we do for a living, and also where our faith is, we can get away with talking about it because our heart is in the right place.
That's right.
It's not offending someone, but I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and that's the difference. Yeah. And I know in church sometimes that can be difficult to talk about that. I know there's a couple pastors that are more fit pastors, and they talk about it sometimes, and then they'll say something and go, I didn't get any amens, and the crowd laughs. Right? Like Craig Groshel's one of those, and and so it's like it's a topic that means so much to us, because so many people are in bondage of food. Not realizing what it even feels like to wake up healthy, right? Are you putting food in front of God? Like, are you taking care of that temple the way that you need to take care of that temple? And he's not asking for perfection when it comes to every molecule that goes into your body. But, like, there's a difference between, like, perfection and then someone that is, like, every meal is horrible. No activity. Like, how are you going to be your best parent, your best spouse, your best, even following the purposes of God for you? Like, you're limiting yourself from absolute blessing and purpose that God has for you, because you can't even get out of your own shell with it. It's deep, man.
And I think that's a lot of that is, the addictive nature of a lot of these foods, right, that are created for that. We talked about this on one of our first episodes, man, of how these foods are designed for you to not be able to put that bag of chips down, right? Like, and man, I'm the same. Like, if I ate a couple chips, I'm like, I'm not gonna have a couple. Right? I want to eat.
Nobody eats two chips.
The whole thing, right? And so it's like, but it's like, how do we protect that? Like, how do we not give into that? And that's, I think, being, obviously confident in yourself, spiritually sound, knowing kind of what that's going to do to you down the line. It's not easy, that's for sure. I mean, I'm sure you guys deal with people all the time with that. That's your job.
It's deeper than even the food addiction of it. It's the fact that media also pumps the food addiction to them.
In your face.
Like, they know what people want. And so when you follow the money, you know what's going on with that. And it's hard. I say this all the time. Like, if you see an ad on a commercial about food, you shouldn't eat that.
Yeah, I'm with that.
It's very rare unless it's a grocery store that's highlighting chicken breast.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's probably pretty good.
It's a boring ad to people, right? Yeah.
The one thing that songs just get me sometimes. Like, I'm like, man, Maverick City in particular. I'm just like,
they're so good, man.
But somebody said even Brandon Lake could sing the McDonald's menu and make somebody cry.
That's true.
Remix gratitude.
Yeah.
But it is he sings a song Closer, and when I think about it, and I think about this even with food, he's closer than the air we breathe. And so depending on what I'm putting into my body is like, wait, if he's closer than the air I breathe, and I think of that, the vibration of every possible being, like he's closer than he resonates within me, then man, I gotta be super intentional about what I'm feeding it, right? And so that's just something that just like, I'm like, that's it. Like, that's, we just got to be so intentional, because he's literally closer than the air I breathe. That is, like, when I breathe in air, what I put in my mouth, like, I'm feeding him, feeding the spirit.
Dude, the analogy is like, if you had a house, right? You guys have, sounds like a beautiful home. Are you going to build the outside with, plexiglass and fiberglass and plastic? Or are you going to build it with some solid structure? And that's what we do when we're eating, is we're building up our body, right? That makes us up. So it's like, and this might be the hard truth that people need to hear, but it's like, if you're not building up your body, you're kind of breaking it down, right? Putting these inflammatory substances in that are going to just end up causing oxidative stress and end up being almost detrimental, right? Or not almost, they are detrimental to your body. It's not benefiting you in any way.
Yeah. I mean, you were going to say something?
Yeah.
I cut you off. I apologize.
I've got thoughts.
She's gonna take a
have words.
female angle.
I have
She's been
words.
waiting.
We gotta get her.
I have
Gears are
words.
moving.
She's been waiting.
She's the discernment here.
It's
That's
so coming from a faith-based perspective, if these are our temples, if we truly believe that this is the dwelling place of the Holy Spirit, then I think we have to be very careful about how we treat this temple, because we have the choice. Like God says, this is the temple of the Holy Spirit. We have the choice of if we actually treat it like a temple or if we don't. Like He gives us that free will. And in a Christian world, a lot of times, like, always like, it's just the spirit, it's just your spiritual fitness. And I'm like, there are 3 parts to us. We are body, mind, and spirit. Like we are 3, and it's like, I feel like God makes everything. He's a 3-in-1, It's like we are 3-in-1. We are body, mind, and spirit. So I think we have to be really intentional with what we are feeding each of those things, not just we're feeding the spirit. And this is something I'll share this, and I haven't actually shared this in a podcast or public setting, but it's something that has been like brewing, and I've just been processing this because we were recently just in a conversation with someone who had had their Bible sitting on the table in front of them. Great, just a display of this is what I believe. Here's my Bible. I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to show everyone what I'm feeding my spirit. I want everybody to know that this is what I'm feeding my spirit. Would we be so bold as to do that same thing with what we're feeding our mind and with what we're feeding our body? Would we hold it up for everybody to see? Would we hold it up and be like, look this is what I'm putting into my mind. This is what I'm consuming with my mind. And look, this is what I'm consuming and putting into my body. So I know that's just like to me, it was even a check for me of like, would I be so bold as the things that I'm putting into my body? Am I proud of that? Yeah. Am I so bold as to say, look at this, look at this? So I just think, especially to brothers and sisters in Christ, it's like, take a look at that. We walk around and you can hold your Bible up, and that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. That's a beautiful, bold display of your faith. Are we so bold to do that with the things that you're putting into your body? Are those glorifying the Lord too? And is what you're putting in your mind glorifying the Lord too?
Amen. Yeah. That's huge. Stewardship. Stewardship of the mind and
again,
soul fit.
Yes.
Soul fit.
Soul fit. Yeah. Take it a deeper, even to go real nerdy with this, and biblical or non-biblical, regardless if you're a believer or not. Here's the reality of the statistics when it comes to food. And this is the stuff that I look at, because we need to look at pain points as well when it comes to the choices that we're making every single day. We associate things like drugs and alcohol to something negative, right? If you do too many of those things, and I'm totally like, don't do any of them, but if you do too much of those things, it can become a massive addiction and massive problems within your relationships, death, all of that, okay? Except for the issue is with food, we celebrate with it. We use it as an emotional escape. We use it for pain. And it's not looked at as the same. Yeah. Right? Except for, like, when you look at the statistics of what food and obesity does with death rate and productivity and all the things. Like, dude, it's like 6 or 7 of the top 10 killers in America come from choices, controllable choices.
Lifestyle choices,
with food and just moving more. Like, God created our bodies to move and to work. To move. And it doesn't mean that you can't have a cheat meal every once in a while. That's not what we're saying either. 100%. It's not perfection.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, like, are you eating a bag of chips every night before bed? And then the meal before that, you're having some ice cream and some pizza. And the meal before that, it becomes, you become what you start eating. And I see people spiral in a way, and you see the physical change. But even more importantly, and I talk about this all the time, what happens to your mental state when you are eating poorly and what it does. You just are not going to be able to drive that vehicle at its top speed. You're just not.
No.
Yeah, I mean, brain foggy, you got neuroinflammation, you're not sharp, right? You're tired at 2:30 in the afternoon. That's the
I get that
average
way.
American.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep I do. I work really hard.
Yeah.
And I get that way. But I mean, at the same time, it's like if I wasn't making those good choices, what what are the alternative effects?
Yeah, I think most people don't really even know what it feels like to be healthy. You said this at the very beginning, right? It's like most people are living at this like pretty like below average or maybe like subpar level, and that's what normal to them.
Yeah.
Then they finally make some better choices. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I feel fantastic. Like, I could feel like this. They're like, this is available to us. It's like, heck yeah, man. Like, your body's going to thrive off of that, right?
Your self-image, your confidence, your energy, your focus, how you're with your kids, how you are with your parents. Like, it all trickles down. Like, God gave us this. He gave us this to be able to utilize, and that's, I just encourage people, just start making better choices one by one.
Yeah. And I would just add, I think when we take care of our bodies, it also means taking care of our brains, because what you're putting in impacts everything. But I think one of the ways the enemy can get in and prevent people from being their most effective and efficient at the plans and purposes that God has for their life. It's not that God can use us in any form. So I don't want anybody to take that as like, I can be unhealthy and still do God's plans, purposes.
Right.
Absolutely. 100%. But will we be our most efficient and effective when we're not feeling well, when we're sick, when we're focused on disease and now what we got to do with this disease? Like when you're sick, the only thing, like it's a major focus. Anybody that I know that has diseases and sicknesses, it's like takes a massive amount of energy to focus on the sicknesses that you have. And I think that takes away from being able to focus on the things, those plans and purposes that God has. It's not that you can't do things, but I firmly believe we can be our most effective and our most efficient when we're actually living in a body and have a mind that is clearer and that functions at a high level. And I'll just even say, like we're talking gluttony, I mean, when food... Being someone that comes from a background of I had a compulsive overeating issue for years. And as soon as I would eat, I would be thinking about what I was going to eat next. Yeah. So I understand what that's like to have your mind so focused on food that even when you're full and even when you've eaten, you're immediately thinking of the next thing that you're going to eat. And when we have something that is consuming our mind like that and it's not the Lord, it's a form of idolatry. And so people, it's not something that's fun to hear, but it's like if food is what your mind is consumed with, and it doesn't mean like, ooh, I really like this. And I'm talking about, what I'm talking about if this is something that you struggle with.
Absolutely.
It is when you are already thinking about what's next, what can I eat, what can I eat, what can I eat. I totally get that mindset. It's something that the Lord freed me of, like literally switched the brain neurons in my brain so I don't even think about that anymore. But it's because I surrendered it to him. But it was a form of idolatry because it was something that was pulling away from my focus on him.
As always, this episode is brought to you by Nutritious, convenient optimized superfood nutrition powered by Nutropix, designed to elevate your physical and mental performance no matter what life throws at you. Nutritious has been proven to improve cognition, boost memory, and speed up mental and physical processing. Alfie, tell everyone where they can get it.
Yep, head on over to nutup.com to experience these benefits for yourself and live beyond limits today.
I love that. I same here. So I have one of the same stories. I literally looked. So I have a post coming out in the next couple days, but that I was 235 pounds. I'm 190 pounds right now. So that's 27 versus 38, 235 pounds. Everything. I literally was looking at everyone else's plate to see what they didn't eat so I could put it on my plate to eat the rest of it. Like literally I'd do that all the time with my family. I'd be like, all right, I'll finish that. They called me the human garbage disposal because I would literally eat just nonstop. I'd just be like, I'm housing. But there comes a point in that where it's complete surrender that it was actually one of the lowest points of my life. It was just eating and working through other things that I just recently posted about that I'm like, God, take the wheel, Yeah. I need you to take the wheel, and man, it's been one of those things since where now my mind's, how am I optimally thinking of longevity, something that I could do the rest of my life, where it then doesn't become a point. We're working through a guy right now that he's going through some health concerns, but now you're focusing on business. As soon as it comes to health, I got to put the fire out. I got to figure it out. It's my health. I might not have tomorrow, right? It's a fire. It's a fire. It's a fire. But like, I don't really, do I focus? Yeah, of course, something could happen to me, but I keep my body. Anything can happen, but it's not going to be a fire because I'm still disciplined in the approach of like what's best for for the temple that I'm trying to preserve and be a good steward of.
And what did you just describe? So you were 230 pounds, you're 190 pounds now. So, you're talking 45-pound difference right there, right?
Yeah.
Where were you living at 235 pounds?
I was in Washington, D.C.
No, you were living in bondage.
Oh,
dude.
bondage.
You were living
Literally.
in bondage in
Washington,
now,
D.C.
You literally,
100%.
You are literally living in pure
Yeah.
freedom now, and that's
Yeah.
what we're speaking of.
Yeah.
We want people to
Absolutely.
have that freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom of literally going, hey, man, do you want to go, hike a mountain today? All right, let's go.
Yeah, you can.
I can. I literally
I
can
can.
do anything.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to actually park at the back of the parking lot just because I can.
Yeah.
There are people that every choice they make is about making it as easy as humanly possible because they are not capable of doing even the smallest of physical things.
Doesn't that?
That
that
is
literally
bondage,
sucks.
It's
man.
resistance. They're scared
That-
of hardness or resistance, right? People.
That-
My
is a
my
real
heart's
example.
broken for them, man.
Yeah.
How awful is that real example? Like, that is something that goes through my mind often. Yeah, I'll park in the back of the parking lot because it's easy. It's still, I could get in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's more parking spots out there. Yet
Nobody's
people
gonna
will
ding your
drive
car.
in circles
Yes.
Yes.
for like wasting 20 to 30 minutes of
I
their
know.
life trying to find the closest parking
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
It's insane.
Oh,
I mean, that's who we're appealing to on this show. Ultimately,
Yeah.
obviously, we want to talk to everyone, but is the people who are looking to make those decisions and hey, I'm not where I need to be. How do I level that
Yeah.
up, right? Like what y'all do with people and
Yeah.
Full field.
and the people who need to hear this hard
Yeah.
truths too, right?
Yeah.
Like if it offends you, man, take note. Why is it
about
offending
that.
you, right?
Yeah.
Dig in a little bit.
well, I got one more for you.
Oh, here we go.
Give it to us. Give it to us.
So again, just coming from a faith perspective, living a life that is making healthy choices and exercising your body, and that requires discipline. And if we're operating, God tells us that He has given us a spirit of power and love and self-discipline. That's the spirit that He gave us. Self-discipline is the spirit that He gave us. So if we are choosing undisciplined lifestyle habits, we're literally operating in a spirit that He did not give us.
Amen.
So that's just something, and I say this knowing everybody's journey looks a little different.
Yeah.
But if you're saying I can't live a disciplined lifestyle, but you're saying you have a walk with the Lord, like if you're walking in the spirit He gave you, it is a spirit of self-discipline.
Massive. That's huge. So
This could be an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Batteries.
We could talk 2 hours on this topic.
we are going, but this is where this is going to go because I think this is a great segue to this. All right, so we have the individual that, of course, lack of there's a lot of people out there like that. But then there's that individual that hey, I want to make that one right decision, right? Yeah. And one thing that we're leading a lot of men into right now, so we're taking our first cohort through Full Fueled, is muscle. And I love some muscle.
Talking to
and
the guy right
I'm
here, bro. You
sitting
kidding me?
next to two jack.
That's why I kept my
right
phone
now.
along because I was like, I'm sitting next to him, bro.
And I, honestly, dude, I wish you
next to me?
you
What
either
you
didn't
talking
wear
about?
pants
Both
or
of
you wore shorts. Come on now, dude. So, anyways, let's talk a little. We got a little bit of time here. Let's talk about muscle because muscle is the absolute longevity mechanism for. I mean, come on, let's talk about muscle.
Muscle and VO2 max. I
Yep.
think those two things are not only longevity of life, but fullness of life.
100%.
And so I think when people think of muscle, they think bodybuilding and whatnot.
Yep.
You're building your body. That's how I like to describe it.
Yep.
So when I look at muscle, everything that I'm doing, especially as I get older, is about preserving my muscle and not losing it or wasting it.
That's right.
I've worked so hard because when I have more lean muscle, my body will burn more at a RMR, a resting metabolic rate, that I just burn calories through the day, literally doing nothing at all.
Yeah.
So I have to consume so much more food. People are like, you probably just eat lettuce and all day. And I'm like, dude, I eat 8 meals a day
it's
and
hard
like
to eat that
enormous
much.
amounts of food
Yeah.
to keep that amount of muscle on. But it makes me strong, and then we go deeper. We go into the bone and the bone density, so we don't have osteoporosis later in life. We're talking not only from an aesthetic standpoint. Muscles are cool when you walk into a room.
Of course.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
It shows me discipline. It shows me a specific
Oh, I
type of
respect
individual.
you.
I know how that person lives
Yeah.
because of where they got to, male or female. Doesn't matter.
right.
But what it also tells me is it goes, okay, this individual has made a decision and a commitment in their life to walk that walk and live that. And so when I find an individual that not only does that, but aligns with Christ too, I'm like, dude, they get it. Yeah. They get it. You know, and to go really nerdy, and I love going nerdy about this, and I just found this out, like we know about endorphins, but like God was like really geeky when he decided to create us, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to create these little things called myokines in the muscle.
Yeah.
Little protein. And the only way that we're going to actually be able to secrete these things into the bloodstream and then go into the brain to give them this like anti-anxiety medication is you're going to have to contract them. So you're going to have to work them. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just do more curls. And then I get more of the myokines. And then I just feel awesome all the time. And it like, God is like, yeah, I put a pharmacy in your muscles, dude.
Yeah.
So you don't have to ever take a pill.
That's my argument for like creation versus
like,
like
dude,
Big Bang, bro.
I'm
I'm like,
like,
dude,
dude,
look at the
it's
complexity
next
of this
level.
body, right? Look at the
Yeah.
complexity, and on the cellular level, and you're like, tell me that like we formed from mud, dude. Like, I'll wait for anyone's response, right? Like, I just it's
And
not
this
there,
goes
bro.
back to when I was 18 too. I didn't know the science behind it. God had thrown me this lifeline. I start working out, and of course I wanted the armor of the muscle, but it was so much deeper than that once it hit my mind. And I was like, man, I feel good about myself again. I feel confident. I have an energy. I have hope again. I have a direction. And so most people think of working out as just like this vanity type of aesthetic type of deal. Dude, just like churches for me and getting into the word, the workout is the same thing. I'm going there to go heal. I'm letting go of my stressors. I'm taking it out on dumbbells. I'll get down on my knees and pray, but then I'm going to go pick some dumbbells up and I'm going to work because he gave me both of them.
Yeah. That is powerful.
That was awesome.
Yeah. No, I love we've been Gabrielle Lyons, obviously she's been promoted quite a bit, and just talking about how important that is. And I just went back at home just to give you an example, and was working out with a Kansas City Chiefs football player. Actually, I was working out with my buddy Frank Zombo.
Oh yeah.
And so he's 255, 260.
He's a linebacker, right?
Yeah, he was a linebacker.
Yeah.
He's a backup linebacker.
Yeah.
I think behind Tom Bali.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe it was Justin Houston. Anyway, one of them went down, so he got a little bit of starting time. But that was even one thing, working out with him. It was like driving me a little bit forward, because I would like powerlifting. I'm powerlifting a little bit more recently. But like activating those and just thinking about the longevity mindset of like what muscle does into my 40s, into my 50s, into my 60s. Because if you look at it like 40s, 50s, and 60s, the guys that are functional and operating at a very high capacity, you know, as much as I would love for my dad to be more mobile, like I'm looking at him in his late 60s and I'm looking at other guys and I'm like, you stopped. Like, Dad, you stopped. And this guy didn't. And this is, he's like super muscular. I follow this guy on Instagram. I forget his name. But I'm like, he's very muscular. He's a CrossFit guy. And I'm like, that's what you can, like, if you maintain it, and then not that it's too late, but if you maintain it and that level of discipline, you can operate well into your 60s, 70s, 80s with high muscular density. Hey, if there's somebody that I trust with my absolute life, it's Dr. Alfred Alessi. I'm telling you, I perform at the highest level because of Alessi Functional Health. Not only does he have prominent chiropractic care, but he has new soft wave technology that allows me to optimize my performance in my game and keep me going strong all day, every day. And if you're in the Tampa area, I highly advise you to click on the link below and book your appointment today at AlessiFunctionalHealth.com.
Yeah, I
100%.
want to talk about women too with
Yes,
this,
please do.
because it's
even more important.
It's because the thing is, I think the men, they get it as far as we want muscle. Most of what I work with nowadays is women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and it's what I try to drill into them is like, we have to stop focusing on the scale, and you're going to go, I got to do this diet. Every time you do this diet and you get on the treadmill and you just do tons of cardio and you diet, you're losing lean body mass. And then you're wondering why you're gaining weight so quickly, like as soon as you're done. And so many women are still afraid of the weights. And even people that we work with, it's like they get into this groove with strength training, and I'm like, you literally have to do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm not it's not, I'm taking time, like obviously we have rest days, but as a part of your lifestyle, if you want to be your strongest, you want to, it's more than what you look like. That's a nice bonus side effect.
Absolutely.
But if you want to prevent diseases and osteoporosis and sarcopenia and so many like cancers and all of these things are linked to lower lean body mass. You're going to die sooner if you have less body mass. But women, I really want them to get through their mind of like, get off the treadmills and go hit the weights. And I want them to be more empowered in a gym setting or whether it's at home. But this is what we just see too. I see it all the time, especially women that are starting to go through menopausal transitions in their lives. It's like, if you want to go through that with the greatest ease that is possible, then focus on maintaining and building as much lean body mass as you can. You're not going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not going to be
That's
a bodybuilder. I know a lot of bodybuilders, and I've never, male and female, I've never met one that was like, whoops, I look like a bodybuilder now. Like it was an accident. It was extremely intentional and took a lot of work. But that's one thing I want women to understand how important that is for them to navigate 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and if they'll stay consistent. I'm 46 now, and it's like, but the reason that I get to do all the things, I'm not on any medications, I can go hike a crazy mountain, but it's, the reason my body is where it is I've been consistent with this for the the last 18, 20 years of my life too. So it's like,
it's got to be your lifestyle.
Yeah, so it can't be 12 weeks I worked out and then I didn't work out the rest of the year. Like, if you want the major benefits, which there are so many, then make it a part of your lifestyle and make it consistent.
And obviously it's harder on the front end, right? You got to put a little more in, and you got to be more front loaded with like how often you're going and all that. But then, like you said, bro, it just becomes easier on the back end. It's like, now I just got to maintain this. Maintenance is a lot easier than building and getting to that fitness level. Then once you're there, man, just keep it up.
You're there. I think a lot of people are also, they're intimidated by going to a gym or whatnot. And I've talked about this as well. Like, the people you actually want to go talk to in the gym are the ones that are crazy fit. Those are the ones that will actually take the time with you and be like, you're awesome, you're here. And give and pour into those people that are day ones.
That's right.
I've seen her do it in random gyms around the country. I've done it and just taken the time to talk to an individual, to give them a second. I understand that intimidation because it's new and you don't feel good about yourself. But just day by day, start going. It starts becoming a part of your therapy. Not just a scale loss, a therapy to get better. Connect it to the Lord. Lord, I'm committing my lifestyle to this because I know you want me to do this. Set those accountability places in play. And I mean, I just want you to reap the benefits of what working out and eating right does. And as you get deeper into it too, we get older, and think about your family members that are out there that if they fell and they broke a hip or they broke something. Have you seen the stats after the age of 60, 65 from someone who falls and breaks a hip?
Deteriorate
like
crazy.
They're game over. They're game over. That individual that is strong, even if they were to fall, they are able to bounce back because of the lean muscle and the strength that they've been putting in that lifestyle that they live. Whereas the other person
and they might
slows
not fall
down
in the first place, right?
That's right. Or they may not even
muscle,
catch
right?
themselves.
So it's like you're preventing so many.
We have a client that's 90 at HitchFit right now, 90, and this dude is doing pull-ups. Dude, he's going up and down the stairs. He invited us to his Christmas party, and he shows us the whole tour of his mansion of a house.
Upstairs, downstairs.
And upstairs, downstairs, and I'm just like, man, like Fred, like,
Goals.
dude,
Let's go.
I want to be Fred.
Yeah.
I want to be Fred.
Seriously.
Yep.
I mean, that's it.
Live it.
Something that you said that is really important that I think we should like kind of highlight a little bit is that even when, so you're, and you touched on this a little bit too, when you are building muscle mass, right? It's not like VO2 max and muscle mass are big things. Now, when we hear VO2 max, which is your max oxidative output, is you got to do a lot of cardio for that, right? But that's not the reality, because when you are building muscle, I in particular, I'd love to hear how you guys work out, but I love supersetting because it maintains my heart rate while through, so that when I get back to that like next exercise, I'm like pumping like crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm increasing my VO2 max. I'm utilizing that. And so like just to highlight that a little bit of how important it is, but you still can increase that threshold over time of your VO2 max. And then maybe when you lose some poundage, you know, running might be involved at that point. But I think it's extremely critical for people to understand that.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, that's a really great point. And cardio is very beneficial too.
Yeah,
like I
absolutely.
love doing like outdoor cardio. I love being outside, and whether I'm walking or jogging or whatever it is, it's great for your mental health. It's great for your heart and for your lungs. It's great for when you're on a fat loss journey. But don't cut out your strength training. And you know, and like a lot of people do, they just, you can get great cardio just from your strength training routines. My point is really a lot of women, they start shying away from the weights and they end up so they're just doing cardio and they've stopped with the strength training. So it's I don't say that to like there's amazing benefits to cardio too. I think it's your nutrition, strength training, cardio. Those are your your big three. But don't, a lot of women, it tends to become just cardio and the weights. Take the wayside.
Yeah, and that's probably a lot of the way that these gyms are. It's all the guys up there with the dumbbells dropping and slamming stuff, and you know, just culturally, maybe women are a little more intimidated by that. But
I mean, I'm not, but
yeah, and it's not everyone. You are clearly an outlier. Clearly,
well,
She's been there, done that.
That's right.
like,
That's right.
Come on.
Well, I'm sure you would tell anyone, like, if I can do it, you can do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just get out of your own way, right? Like,
when there's newbies in the gym, like I would want them to know, like, everybody's here because they're focused on themselves.
That's it.
Literally, like, that guy that's on that, he's
Nobody
focused on him. And if you go up and work out next to him, he literally doesn't care.
Right.
And if you need the equipment, you like, they're, you know, just because they're, you know, in their zone, it's all mental. It's like they literally would not care, and they're amazing humans, and they are probably glad that you're there trying to, you know, make your life
He
better.
literally is counting 12
He's
in
literally
his mind
thinking about
over
his
and over and over
workout
again.
meal.
there are guys there that maybe are trying to beat girls, right?
that's
Like, certain gyms, so it depends on the gym.
Yeah.
You guys sound like you've developed a culture that is probably the opposite of
All gyms are a
LA
little bit
Fitness and
different.
whatever,
for
college
sure.
and stuff,
For sure.
Yeah.
You had touched on supersets, and, you know, as you get more advanced, I mean, drop sets, century sets, all this stuff to build VO2 max. I'm like a big pusher of it. I do cardio every single morning, and I actually do it fasted because I do all my social media content. So I'm up at like 3 a.m. every single morning, you know, and my rhythm of my body is like literally, you know, I wrote a post about it last night about like the first 10 days of the year so far. I've waken up 4 now, or 11 days now, anywhere between 3 a.m. and 3:22 without an alarm. I never use an alarm ever, you know, and the body just gets into this rhythm, you know, and it's amazing what it does. So I start with that cardio. It's when I'm closest to the Lord. There's no distractions. And then I'm able to do all my content too for social media. It's where my creativity is high. I like strength training later in the day after a couple of meals. But yeah, man, drop sets and supersets, and you can just like be creative with it. And you know, it's kind of one of the craziest things. It's one of the only pains that's actually positive for you.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you guys work out together? Independently?
We have before, but
Are you a solo, bro?
Yeah, I'm a solo.
You're a solo,
Yeah.
bro?
I was raised
kind of
as
a
an only
solo,
child.
too.
I was definitely a solo.
And I'm alone. I'm just a lone wolf. We actually tried to train together, like when we very first met. We were like, no,
No.
That's like
That's
we'll
good,
be in
at
the
least y'all
same
do it,
gym.
Yeah,
right?
we
Like-
do. We're
like,
in the
we'd be in
gym
the same
together.
gym.
Trying to force
but-
it, right?
Yeah, it's just
Was
like,
it?
I'm mainly
I
like the
to do my
creeper
own
on the
thing.
side, just checking my wife out and going, okay, I think this
Dang.
can increase my overall strength by 25% by looking at my wife right now.
Yeah.
I heard that. What is
Bro
that?
science.
Think and Grow Rich. That's what is that? Chapter 10.
There's truth to it, I'm telling you.
Oh man.
So we have to touch on this. So we've been going for an hour, but we got to touch on this because there's a big conference coming up.
Yeah.
Lean in, level up. I know it's something I introed you, and we gotta. We touched on it a little bit, but it's January 24th through the 26th.
26 to the
26 to the
28th.
28th. You're coming.
Close.
26th to the 28th.
you can
I
show
got
up
it in my
the
calendar.
24th.
Calendar
Yeah.
not in front of me.
Cut that, bro.
January 26th to the 28th. Some high-level speakers are going to be there. Some of your really good friends that are just going to come and invest in people. Tell us where it's at. Some highlights that you expect out of it. I know you got something really cool for the VIPs. Maybe you want to share. Maybe you don't want to share. You want to keep that a secret. But tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we are super excited about Lean and Level Up, and it's really the whole concept of this conference was it was kind of birthed from the retreats that we do because it's like we wanted to create an environment where people can come in and let's talk about like the tough stuff, the stuff that holds us back, like the things that whether it's in our faith and our fitness, our relationships, our finances, our businesses, or in some area of personal development. You know, we're in a new year and we intentionally planned it for this end of January because that's the time when most people have already totally given up or forgotten about their New Year's resolutions and all the things they were fired up about a couple of weeks ago. You know, and statistically it's only 8% of people that by the end of the year have actually achieved the things that they wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year. So we're like, okay, we need to help people figure out how are you going to be a part of that 8%. We want to be a part of that 8%. The only way we're going to do it is if we figure out the things that are holding us back so that we can get the tools that we need for breakthrough. And so that was really the whole point of the conference was let's lean into this hard stuff. Let's lean into the challenges, the obstacles, the pains, the trauma, the abuse, the grief, those things that are just keeping you stuck in these areas of your life. Let's get the tools, which we say it's faith and fitness infused because faith and fitness are what I believe are our wrecking balls. No matter what area of life it is that you are having that there was a wall that is holding you back, faith and fitness are the wrecking ball tools that can help us bust through those things. And so that's why we say it's faith and fitness infused. So we have an incredible, God has just been like, you know, we told a little of the story of how our business partner died, and then we're like, you know, we're committed to this thing. And I'm like, I don't know who's going to speak. I don't know who's going to show up. Like, it's Tampa. I don't even know anybody in Tampa now, you know. And God literally has just been like, plop, plop, plop. Like, these speakers have come. We have just phenomenal group of people, speakers and coaches, and that are ready to just pour into people. And it's not going to be a conference where people come and they just sit there and listen to a bunch of speakers. It's like we are making it interactive. We are creating times where they're going to be able, we're creating coaching corners where people are going to be able to choose the coaches that they would like to interact with more, learn more from. A woman who has become a great friend of mine, her name's Alita Reynolds. She's the president of an organization called Women of Faith, which is like a huge women's organization. I used to go to their conferences back in the day. She's coming. We have a great friend of ours, Marcus Collius, and his brother Darren. We got a bunch of Canadians that are coming down.
Love them Canadians.
Oh, we love those Canadians. So, and just I could go on and on with how we've just gotten these incredible people that are showing up, just ready to pour into people in all of these topics. Yeah. So it starts. It's the 26th to the 28th. The venue is the West Shore Grand Hotel.
West Shore Grand.
And it starts on the Friday evening of the 26th, and we'll have from 6 to 9 that night, and then it's going to be all day Saturday. We have speakers, we have breakouts, we have coaching corners, we have the exhibitor area where you guys people can come and try some Nutritious. Come
Nude
on,
up.
nude up. So yeah, we're super excited that you guys are going to be there. And then for our VIPs, we'll have we'll have special times with the speakers, but then on the Sunday, we're going to do something really cool for our VIP experience guests. And because, again, it's faith and fitness, we're doing a breakfast in the morning, and then we're actually going over to the MI40 gym. Oh. Yes.
We rented a party bus.
And
we
elite
did a
gym
party,
in Tampa.
there's a party bus.
Awesome.
I haven't told anybody about the party bus.
That'd be awesome.
So we have that gym for a couple of hours. So instead of sitting around post conference and having that time of reflection, we're like, let's go
weights,
to the gym. And it can
Yeah.
be anybody of any fitness
Yeah.
level is absolutely welcome to be there. So we have people that are like, I'm scared, but I'm coming. And I'm like, you literally don't need to be scared. It's going to be so fun because we know the gym is such a place of encouragement and empowerment. So we're like, I don't want to sit here and just talk. Let's go like do some sets together and let's talk about what we learned in that environment. So we're super excited. It's leaninlevelup.com is the website, and we just come on Tampa, come and join us.
Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go right into the plug-in, but
Let's go.
tell the listeners before we start wrapping up and stuff, where can they find you guys on Instagram, online? Obviously, leaninlevelup.com is the conference for this coming month, but talk about your gym.
HitchFit, you can find that at hitchfit.com. We're both on Instagram. The main page I use is Mr. HitchFit. She uses Diana Laerte, which is her name on Instagram, and then we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, all YouTube.
Soulfit retreats as well.
Soulfitretreats.com is our retreat business website.
If you look up HitchFit or Soulfit, like we're just not hard to find.
Yeah.
We've been around for a minute.
Awesome. Sounds good. You want to wrap us up with the last question?
I always ask our guests this question. It kind of became a thing that I like to say because it encompasses kind of what we're doing. But, when we talk about living full fueled, the name of this show, we have 6 pillars that we kind of abide by. Fuel, movement, sleep, mind, work, and spirit, right? And so if you got all those dialed in, you're going to be living full fueled, right? What does living full fueled look like, mean to you guys?
Full fueled is really simple for me. It is trying to get as much clarity as possible on the purposes that God has in my life and fulfilling and being obedient to that. And so my choices every day are about becoming the best version I can inside and out so that I can fulfill everything that he ends up giving me that I need to go out and be obedient in.
Love that answer.
Yeah, love
Nailed
that.
it. Yeah.
I would say full fueled for me, when I think of that, I'm like, what do I want to be full fueled with? And it's the Lord, it's the Holy Spirit. It's like, because I feel like when that is my priority and he is my focus and I just keep my eyes on him and let him fill me up, I'm going to have overflow for everything else that I need.
That's right. Yeah.
Boom.
Crushed it.
Well,
man.
you guys crushed it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Like I said, we could have gone for all day on this one, bro.
Live full fueled. Live beyond limits, baby.
Yes.